Ay, ay. Damn, I'm so exhausted, man.
Our little businessman. Today he didn't even have time to change his clothes.
Right. Well, today is a Tuesday, actually. We're recording on a Tuesday.
We are recording on a Tuesday.
We're warriors, man.
Yeah. Working a full-time job and doing this as a hobby isn't for the weak-hearted.
Not at all.
Not at all. Pay attention to your microphone.
Oh, yeah, this is fine.
Before we start today's episode, obviously our friends see our podcast and watch all the episodes, almost all of them.
Sure, mate.
And one curious fact, fun fact, is that no one really believes that this is a one-shot podcast.
Right.
So I think it would be interesting to say that this podcast has no cuts. The only thing that we do is we change camera angles. So right now we have 3 cameras filming, and
with it one shot, everything one shot.
One shot, everything. Our editor.
You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
Early intro.
Politics.
Check.
Drama.
Sure.
And filter thoughts you didn't ask for. It's spilled milk.
Enjoy the mess. And we're back. So, we're in Madrid.
Right. Aren't you gonna say the words?
Oh.
Right. What are the words, Ivania?
What's on today's menu?
I thought you were gonna forget, huh? Today's menu, we're gonna discuss moving abroad. So we have a lot of friends that have moved abroad because we're Portuguese, and a lot of Portuguese people move abroad because they're done with Portugal. A lot of justifications why that is the case, but it's true, right?
It is true. We are one of those people. And we thought it would be really interesting to share a bit of our story and just throw some advice out there in case you're thinking about moving abroad.
Right. And should we just start? So we just start waffling about whatever we think about moving abroad.
Let's rant.
So we live in Madrid. So we don't live in Portugal anymore, but we're both Portuguese. We met in Portugal. And so why did you feel like it was the right time to move away from Portugal, and why did we move?
So I think it's this is going to be a really nice episode for the people who watched our previous episode. In our previous episode, we talked a little bit about our relationship.
Right.
And one of the reasons why I moved to Madrid was because of this young businessman here on my left.
Yes.
And truly, because I also wanted to find my path, as in I really wanted to start a career. It's not like I didn't have a job in Lisbon. I did. I've been working since I was 18, so it wasn't an issue for me. But what is definitely, having the education, going to school, having all of that kind of investment, and then all of a sudden seeing myself stuck in a position where the salary was fairly very shit, but that's what Portugal is offering, and a dead-end job, as in I was doing what I was doing it very well, but 3 years from there I would be stuck in the same place because there was no hierarchy in the kind of job that I was already doing it all. And as a 26-year-old, that's when we moved to Madrid. And I was 26.
Yeah.
I'm turning 28 next week. So
Damn.
That's crazy. So yeah, as a 26-year-old with a lot of I wanted more for myself. And I wanted a career, and I wanted to grow, and I want to be what I've always envisioned to be in the future. So this was a perfect little combination.
Meant to be.
Why did you move?
So I moved basically because I believe that the opportunities in Portugal are not the same as like most countries in Europe. Like Madrid isn't, let's say, the best economy in Europe, but it's still a growing economy. Is right next to Lisbon, so we go and we go to Lisbon like every single month almost.
Every month we're there, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just a no-brainer in terms of the opportunities you get and the salary you get as well, and the proximity you have to home, let's say. Now, I think Portugal is facing, and this is kind of an Iberian issue, but we're facing in terms of people are getting frustrated. People are really getting frustrated with Portugal, and just because the market is a P, and it has been a little P for a very long time. The statistic is that since the year 2000, on average, adjusted for inflation most likely, the Portuguese economy has grown 0.5% a year. And 0.5% a year on average since the year 2000 is incredibly shocking, baffling, and it's humiliating for people that are actually very proficient and people that are very capable and professionals that are incredibly talented. I think the Portuguese are one of the most talented nations in the world, and we see that in sports, we see that in leadership in multinational companies, we see that a lot everywhere, but most of this talent doesn't stay in Portugal, and it's just sad to see that your own country, the country you love, pushes you away, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, I consider myself a very, very hardworking person.
Mm-hmm.
I see the way that you work. I don't work in the same area as you, but both our areas, our working areas, are very demanding, and that really does require an ambitious person and a person who just envisions herself or themselves wanting more and being more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why you came to Madrid,
Right.
was because you were seeking more, and what you felt like in Lisbon, you felt like Lisbon wasn't giving you enough.
No, not at all. Let's look at the facts. I mean, the Portuguese population is more or less a quarter of the Spanish population, but the Portuguese economy is like a sixth of the Spanish economy in terms of GDP, which is incredible, right? I mean, it's just, it makes no sense to be in an economy that is just smaller and has not much potential. Both of these economies, Iberia and while we live in the shadow of the dictatorship that we had.
Yeah.
And even if you're leftist or rightist, the thing is the governments that we had didn't really put the economy first, and that was detrimental to its growth. I think it's fair to say, and so I mean, I think it was a no-brainer to come to Madrid. I think Madrid is one of the biggest hotspots in Europe right now.
Yeah, right now it definitely is.
We have friends not just from Portugal, not just from Spain. We have friends from Italy. We have friends from, I don't know,
Argentina,
Dutch friends here, Argentina,
from Chile.
Yeah, a lot of Latin Americans, Brazil. I mean, there's people from everywhere across the world in Madrid, and it still really, really works.
Yeah.
And I feel safe as well, which is kind of surprising for the amount of diversity we have.
Definitely. Before we get into anything else, I think it's just really important if we have any Americans, or if we have
Don't come.
No. They're probably questioning, well, that's not true, because all my friends go to Portugal for summer and I have a lot of friends that work there. So listen, those people are they're called digital nomads, and they're working from Portugal, receiving an American salary. And that, my friend, is very different. That is the dream. Because we're not here in the city because we hate Portugal. We are in this city because we have to survive this life somehow.
Exactly.
So
Cash money king, bro. Cash is king. We just want to make money, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. I think it's fair. People want to make money, they move away from Portugal.
People want to make money, but they also want to feel like there's something bigger in this life rather than working a crazy 9 to 8 or a 9 to 7, because those are the working hours, or even longer in Portugal, because there were many days where I worked from 9 a.m. to even 10 p.m. And you have as well, but you aren't compensated in that way. You just wake up and you go to sleep living the same routine with no expectations towards your job. You have no expectation towards your career. You don't see yourself growing, evolving, and that for a human being is super important. You feel like you get into a rut. But
do you think that is a Portugal problem, or do you think it's just
I think that's a Portugal problem, of course, because if I can't have expectations towards my career growth, what am I doing? I mean, people are people, obviously, and I know a lot of people that are super okay with waking up to their 9 to 5 and earning their little salary at the end of the month, and we are not the same. We don't share the same kind of ambition.
But we kind of do the same thing, no?
Me and you?
No, that's what you're describing. We do our 9 to 5, not really 9 to 5, 9 to more than 5, but
yeah,
still.
Honey, but we've been here for 1 year and we already know how our careers are progressing.
Right, that's true.
I worked for 3 years in one company and I saw zero progression. I worked for 1 year as an intern, earning 500 euros a month, having to pay rent and food. Right. Here I was also an intern and, well, a bit older, but still now I have a stable job and progressively growing into something bigger, which I won't.
I think the note you're getting into is not really just the 9 to 5 and making money. Like in Portugal, you make not much money. In Madrid, you make, let's say, 20-30% more, which, since the baseline isn't great, the Madrid baseline isn't great as well. It's not as great as going to Frankfurt or London or Amsterdam.
Yeah, the bar is low.
But I think what really matters here is that the volume of the business volume that there is in Madrid, the amount of opportunities that there are. What you do in Portugal, there is no company doing.
Yeah, there's a very
what you do for a living,
niche
it's not really a niche. It's just something that in Portugal does not happen. They do not pay. It almost doesn't exist. They externalize everything because it makes no sense, because there's no big companies to sponsor what you do, and it's as simple as that. And I think at the end of the day, Portugal is beautiful, but it will have to go through a major change. I think people are very upset. I think we're seeing that with the elections, the recent elections that we had. Even if you're a leftist or a rightist, I think you can just see with the results that people are upset, and people want change above everything, above whatever they feel, whatever they truly believe in. They want change, and I don't know if that change is coming for the good or for the bad. But people are pissed. People want Portugal to go back, or to at least gain more opportunities. And we're really not seeing that. We compare ourselves with Ireland, for example, that was a country that also went through the financial hardships that Portugal went through after the financial crisis, but then installed this political ecosystem that made companies thrive. And today we have most of the major tech headquarters in Dublin, right?
Dublin, it's true.
And we're seeing their GDP grow, and our economy is still very similar to what it was 25 years ago. And it's very, very sad to see.
It is. It is. It's really sad. We miss Portugal a lot, and personally, I wish that I wouldn't have to be here in order to follow my goals as a person. But that's what we had to do.
Let's play a game.
Okay.
So I wanted to go a little bit scientific. So are you familiar with the Hofstede's cultural dimensions?
No.
Basically, the Hofstede cultural dimensions are basically this guy Hofstede made this study that studies the cultures of different countries and characterizes them for six criteria.
Okay.
And I'm going to describe the criteria, and you're going to tell me which one is bigger in Portugal and Spain.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. So all I have to say is Portugal or Spain?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to tell you Portugal, Spain, and the UK. The thing is, Spain is always in the middle because Portugal and the UK are complete opposites, but Spain is always in the middle of the two.
Okay.
Which is not really surprising.
Okay.
Because it's kind of a mixture, right? Okay, let's go. First dimension, individualism. Individualism is the extent to which people feel independent as opposed to being interdependent as members of a large whole.
Spain.
Very nice. Great.
Okay.
1-0. Power distance is the extent to which the less powerful members of organizations and institutions, like the family, accept and expect that power is distributed unequally.
Portugal.
Portugal. Very great.
Not just
Very
cute,
nice.
guys.
Wow. Masculinity is the extent to which the use of force endorsed socially.
Portugal.
No, Spain.
Okay. Surprising.
Okay. Uncertainty avoidance. Uncertainty avoidance deals with the society's tolerance for uncertainty and ambiguity.
Portugal.
Exactly. That was great. So you're doing really good.
Thanks.
Wow. Long-term orientation. Long-term orientation deals with change.
In a good way, in a positive or negative way?
Yeah, you're always thinking long-term. You're not thinking of the tomorrow. Very good. Very good. Even though this one is very tight. Indulgence. So indulgence is about the good things in life. If you always think about the good things and not really...
Portugal.
Right. It's a bit the opposite of
even though the Spaniards also are very like that. But
yeah, of course.
Portugal.
And the Italians as well. It characterizes us, but we are even more. Are there more dimensions? We don't know. There are probably more dimensions.
Okay. Was that the game?
This is the game.
That was really
You did great. It was
interesting.
like 5-0. You got 5 out of 6.
Thanks.
Great. Wow. Hofstede's cultural dimension, guys. You're always learning, huh? These studies are a bit controversial in terms of they're kind of stereotypical, but they're scientific studies, huh? And they've been around for a very long time.
Fair, and I'm guessing for the next couple of years there's going to be more and more studies because people are now moving more around the world than never before. I mean, I've lived in 3 countries. You've lived in 2, 3
right.
as well. Yeah, you've lived in 3. I wasn't counting Portugal as 1. And obviously here, having this experience...
No, I lived in...
Yeah, you lived in 3.
4 countries.
4? What was the 4th?
Canada.
Portugal? Spain?
And Brazil.
Yeah, but you were too little to remember. You can't really compare.
My first memories are in Rio. I lived 2 years in Rio.
Yeah, but...
I lived longer in Rio than I lived in Canada.
Yeah, but you can't really...
Why
you
can't
can't compare a cultural experience. Can you?
Sure. But I lived... You asked me if I lived... how many countries I lived in.
No, that fair
if
enough.
I can compare cultural dimensions or whatever.
That fair enough. You've lived in 4 countries, but as an adult, where you can experience...
as an adult, only 3.
The extent of what living in a country means, only in 3.
Yes, but we go to Rio every year. and I lived there when I was young.
Yeah, but you don't live there. You don't work there. You don't know how things are there to be able to compare it to other countries.
Yes, but if there was a fourth country, it would be Brazil. Right?
Okay. But still, you have lived in Canada and I have lived in the UK. Literally the other country that was there. And here, talking a little bit about cultural shocks, how obviously one of the biggest fears when you move abroad is cultural shocks. And here in Madrid, obviously, we haven't experienced a lot of that because, well, all cultures are pretty much
very
the same.
similar. They are.
They're very similar. The food is very similar. The quality of life is very similar. As in, there's a lot of hanging around. There's a big community of people. People don't just live to work. Or actually, they don't work to live. And they really try to get a bit of quality time with their friends and family after working hours. And we can definitely see that more here in Madrid than even in Lisbon, because man, here it's a Tuesday night and if I look outside, there's like 10 groups of people drinking a beer. Now the weather is good, they're just chit-chatting and then they'll go home and then at 9 a.m. they'll be up at their jobs.
Yeah.
In Lisbon that's a little bit different. Even though it does exist, on a Tuesday night it doesn't.
Right. I think there's always cultural adaptation to be made, and I think we still felt it, even though we go regularly to Portugal, and I think that really helps. But I mean, the Spanish have way less diverse lifestyles. So the Spanish only gather with the Spanish. They don't speak English as well as the Portuguese do. They require you to speak Spanish all the time, and that sometimes is hard for people that live. They are abroad. That moved abroad and live in Spain, right?
Definitely.
And that was a difficulty for us, and especially for you, right?
Yeah.
Like having to learn a new language in Spain and being absolutely mandatory because people don't really speak it, and they also don't care if you speak English or not. They really don't. And in Portugal, it's not like that. People are really respectful if you speak English, and they really try to make sure you understand, and they get their point across
as well.
They'll teach 100%.
Yeah.
I think one of the I don't know if you're familiar with the U-curve theory of cultural adaptation.
Another game?
No, it's not a game. It's just basically the U-curve theory of cultural adaptation basically explains a little bit, I think, of how everyone feels. I think it's a generalization, but normally it really actually happens, which is at the beginning you have this like honeymoon period where you go abroad and you feel really, really good, and oh my God, I've changed my life and this is so different, but I like it so much. And then you start to realize, yeah, these people are actually different from me, and I'm away from home and things are not that good. And after like 1, 2, 3, 4 years is that when you then start to change yourself and adapt to the culture where you need to change, not really everywhere. And then you start to embrace the good things that this culture has. And then you are actually able to thrive in that different culture. And I think we're still on that edge of going up. I think we haven't reached peak. I think we're still trying to reach the peak of our complete à vontade with this Spanish culture. But I think we're getting there, and I think we're definitely better than we were half a year ago.
To be fair, this is a very, very interesting point, because that's exactly how I felt about living in the UK. It was exactly 4 years. And that was exactly how I felt. First year, a honeymoon phase. I loved it. The second year was a bit tougher because I was already used to places, people, etc. It wasn't as fun and as exciting anymore. Third year, I was already like, when is this gonna end? Because the girl needs to go back home. And the fourth year, I couldn't anymore, and that's why I left. I graduated.
But that doesn't really apply to the U-curve theory.
No, it does, because if you said that, then after the 4-year period or whatever, you adapt. You adapt your personality to become part of the culture.
But if you don't, you don't.
If you don't, you don't. What can you do? You have no choice. Either you adapt or you leave.
Yeah.
Because the U-curve doesn't go back into a cycle and then you go back into the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
It does?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Exactly.
You go beyond the honeymoon phase, baby. You go actually beyond. Like the honeymoon phase is just an intermediate phase of how well you adapt after 4 years normally. The thing is, sometimes people get fed up with the place they live in, and in the UK it's really easy to get fed up with the rain, with the bad food, with everything, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's exactly what you felt.
Yeah, it wasn't a place for me anymore, and I left after the 4 years, and that's the place where I actually felt a cultural shock. However, here I didn't feel a cultural shock, but it was really tough to move here, as in the obligation of speaking a language that you are not fluent in is not the same as chit-chatting or...
And we have it easy, yeah?
And say a couple of words here, a couple of words there, and then you can mix it up with English. I was forbidden to speak English.
Bro, have you heard the Spanish people talking in the chit chat, the water cooler chit chat, bro? It's like
the water cooler chit chat is a speciality.
Bro, tío, que joder, es que calma, despacio, no? Bro, it's too fast. It's just too fast. I don't know if it's the Portuguese are slower or is it just our ears are not used to it, but they can't even breathe while they're speaking, bro. It's too fast.
I don't know what it is. I believe that we also speak fast in our own native language, but the Spanish from Spain wasn't something that my ears were accustomed to listening, to hearing. So when I came here, and one of the mandatories for my job was, okay, girl, now you have to speak Spanish every day. And that's the only thing you can speak.
Right.
I mean...
Yeah, and doing your job, it's hard to do it always in Spanish.
I don't really have to say that I learned the language very quickly. Way. But definitely the hard way. As in, at the end of the day, my brain was exploding. There were times where... And the hardest part is not only expressing yourself, obviously, but making friends. Making friends is hard at the office when you don't know the language.
I think we have it really easy in the sense that the Spanish people are friendly. And I think something that characterizes Spanish people is at the beginning they might look like a little bit arrogant because they want you to speak Spanish and everything. But once you're friends with them, they'll die for you. They love you very much. They're very, very friendly. And they're even more friendly than the Portuguese. And I really like that about the Spanish people. Once you're in, right? You agree with that?
Yes. Yes. It took me a very, very long time to get in my little group of Spanish colleagues / friends, because now they're my friends. But it was only because of the language barrier. Truly. Now, they are the first people who come up to me, first of all, who defend me in any kind of situation. When I forget a word, when I'm mispronouncing something, this or that, they're the first people who are like, hey, don't be so hard on yourself. I wish I would be able to speak a language as fast as you're doing now. So you're good. Don't you worry. In that aspect, definitely. But the first couple of months, when you're there and you don't know how to speak the language good enough to express yourself and communicate just the basics, it's tough. They're not rude, they're not mean, nothing of the sort. It's just their own little community. And it is what it is. But I think we're very blessed to be where we are right now. And now is the time where I feel like I'm walking more into the honeymoon phase regarding Madrid. Because at the beginning it was so tough.
It's not called the honeymoon phase, baby. It's just called the, like, I don't know, it's called a different thing. Like, honeymoon phase is like the beginning. Like, straight up beginning. Like the first month. Where you're like, whoa, this is something new. This is not honeymoon phase. This is like getting adapted, baby. This is what we're feeling. Yeah, we're starting to adapt. That's it.
But I can't explain my version of the story.
What do you mean your version of the story?
My version of the story is my first month here was horrible. Was terrible.
It's not horrible.
Yeah, it was. But why do you think you know? It was bad. It was very bad. And you know exactly why it was bad. I was working a horrible job, not the job that I'm working now.
Right.
Okay.
But that has nothing to do with the culture.
And the following 6 months were still very tough. Because I had to change my whole routine, my whole life. Not just only living in a country abroad without any friends or family, with a new boyfriend in a new house, but also having to learn a language every day and working in a very different field. The field that I love, but learning a lot of new things.
Yeah, of course.
So yes, now that I'm accustomed to what I'm doing, I can finally breathe a bit and I can fall in love with the city. That's what I mean. And the people and the culture.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Like, when adapting to the job that you're gonna do, it's also very, very, very important. I mean, I think we have it easy in the sense that even when we didn't speak Spanish, we still did, right? We still could.
We managed.
We still did manage, but we have friends that live in Switzerland and they can't speak French.
Right, but
and they live in remote cities, and they have trouble having friends there. It's tough to live abroad. It's really, really tough. It's not easy to move. It really isn't. But I think people that do it are, in a sense, more resilient because they are really wishing and wanting to chase after a better life. And that's how I see it. They're less conformative and they often achieve higher goals. And I don't know if people will be offended for me that I say this, but people that move abroad normally achieve higher goals, I think. Because they are chasing and going out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. Actually, none of it is rainbows and butterflies because there's always something that you're missing because you're out of your comfort zone. But it is... If I were a person, and I speak with many people who have never lived abroad, I feel like they look at me and they're like, chapeau. Because I can't imagine myself living abroad without my family. And if there's one thing that I can say, if there's anyone out there who is thinking about moving abroad and they're like, oh no, but I have so many things here. Girl, you have nothing. You have a family who will still be there when you're back, when you're visiting, when you're this, when you're that. Things happen all the time, but they will also happen when you're there or when you're out. So don't stay and live a life that's not yours. You're living a life for other people, and those people have already made their choices. And second of all, friends. Oh, but I'll lose my friends. Girl, if you lose your friends, they weren't your friends to begin with.
Yeah,
because
if you move abroad and you lose your friends...
Trust me, and my friends have all went and been through the same kind of things. I had friends that went to the UK to study. I have friends that went to France to study. I have friends that stayed in Portugal to study. Mm-hmm. And all of those friends, many of them I have lost, others have stayed. And those are the friends that I still have today. Plus, all of the ones that I have gained along the years and being here. So... it's tough. You'll miss your family. You'll miss your friends. But the end goal has to be bigger than all of that. It just has to be.
Yeah. Yes, and I think in the end, you can also. It's sad that I don't know. This is a topic that to me is kind very very sensitive in the sense that because I really love my country, and I believe that Portuguese people are incredible people, and that's why they have success abroad, and that's why we see that the club that wins the Champions League has four or three starting Portuguese players, and it's not just the talent. Like we really have the resilience that most people don't have, and we're very relatable. Portuguese people are relatable. The most famous person in the world is not American. The most famous person in the world is actually Portuguese. He is from a 10 million population country, and actually an island that I don't even know how many people are in Madeira, which is insane. And if you don't think Portuguese people are relatable after the stat, I don't know what you're gonna think. And I think we need to believe in our country, but I don't know how things will change. And most people think that it won't. They won't. And right now, the reality is that Portugal is a near failed state, near broke, near bankrupt state of the European Union. It's not bankrupt, but it still is not thriving, and it's not going to thrive in the long term. Our exports are not good. The complexity of the goods we produce are not really good. And our differentiation of the country that we live in is just the sea and tourism, because we have a large history. The largest empire in the history of mankind was Portuguese, and people don't even know this. People don't even know that the largest empire in terms of wideness in the globe is Portuguese. We were everywhere. We were fucking everywhere, bro.
I just love when my boyfriend goes on a rant. And
Man, people, have you thought that arigato and obrigado are fairly similar?
Yeah.
Bro, it's crazy that we were in Japan, bro. We were in Japan. They say pan because of pão. They say pau. They say pau because of pão. It's crazy, bro. In Europe, an orange in Turkey or in Greece is called portocale, because we brought oranges or sweet oranges to Portugal, to Europe. Bro, it's crazy. We were everywhere, and we are a great nation that is just dormant, and it's very sad to see. It's very sad to me, and I want to represent my country, and I really feel empowered by the roots that we have, and I think we need to follow up on those blessings that we had by being Portuguese. Sorry, I just went on a nationalism, patriotism rant.
Very emotional rant, but here we are, just two kids living abroad to chase their dreams. And to be fair, my longest and long-term dream that I have, and I hope one day will come true, is moving back to Portugal.
Right. Eventually, I hope so.
This is one of the major discussions that Gonçalo and I have.
It's not really a discussion. It's not really a discussion.
It's a conversation. It's a conversation. It exists. It's a conversation.
Kind of.
No, it's a conversation. It happens because I have lived a big percentage of my adult life, and I will keep on living my adult life in a foreign country. And yes, your family is there, will always be there. However, where you raise yours is a totally different subject. And it really irks me and ticks me the wrong way to think that there is a potential... there is a possibility that I may have kids out of my own country.
That is a very big possibility. That is the most probable outcome. And I think it's just about, it's not about, and Ivania is very, very emotional all the time about this because she really loves her country and she really wants to go back, and I understand. And I really understand, but I'm very, very, very realistic, and something I really, really don't like to do, and it's very dangerous to do with Ivania, is manage expectations wrongly. And she has to be constantly reminded that it is not likely that that is going to happen. Not because we don't want to, just because our professional lives do not allow us to do it. And so it's better to be realistic and say and think that we are not going to have kids in Portugal. And then eventually, if something happens, the magical happens, that we actually can make like decent amounts of money, and our decent amount of money is a lot of money because we are very ambitious in Portugal, and most likely that will not happen that soon, unless this podcast gets like super fucking famous.
Please make us famous so I can move back to Portugal and make videos. Thank you so much. I just need a small loan of 1 million euros.
Guys, also like subscribe. Like we need support.
Yeah, we need support. Like, subscribe, comment.
Like the support has been really like overwhelming all the time. I think we've had really good feedback on the episodes that we've been recording, and I think we just need to keep going. Everything that Smile said, that Yuri said, we're accomplishing, right?
Yes, everything that is good takes time. And here we will continue to be here and sharing our crazy stories with you. A lot more to come. Our first season will soon come to an end.
Right. I don't know when. We still haven't decided, but it's not.
It's a conversation.
Yeah, it's also a conversation. We don't know when our last episode will be, but the next episode after this one will be most likely already in July.
Yeah,
I
for
want
professional
to do
reasons.
more episodes. Ivania wants to do less, and so guys, let me know if you're on my side. One last. I think could we go just do one good evening bad news? The one you told me about.
Okay, there's two.
There's two.
There's two.
Can you go after that?
Yeah.
Good evening bad news. 1, 2, 3.
So on today's Good Evening Bad News, we have Drake's on tour.
Right, Drake is coming.
And I hope when this little video gets out, I will already have our tickets.
Right.
Because I've seen Drake live at the O2 in London. I had the full London experience. The full O2 experience. And it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. And the first artist ever that I will go see twice, no hesitation. I will definitely go see him. And do you want me to get into the second Good Evening Bad News?
Yes, sure. I think there's nothing to say about Drake. Like, we want to go see Drake. We're going to see Benito. And you're going to see Rufus do Sol in 2 weekends.
And you're not.
Because I have a wedding. And
the wedding saga continues.
We'll be doing an episode part 2.
Season 2 will bring a lot of the episodes from this season into the next. But for today's second part of Good Evening Bad News, Kylie Jenner, this sounds so superficial. Kylie Jenner today just revealed who her plastic surgeon / boob surgeon was. As in, yesterday I was actually on my TikTok scrolling, whatever, doing my nightly scroll before going to bed. And I stopped on a video that said, if you're not Kylie Jenner, please scroll. If you're Kylie Jenner, I need to ask you a question and I need you to please answer. I love your boobs. I want to get a boob job. I love... What?
I don't love her boobs.
Wait, I love how your surgeon has done it. Could you please drop a comment and tell me what I need to ask and who your doctor was,
right.
so I can have the same kind of procedure and look. And the bitch fucking commented.
Bro, that's actually.
And she fucking commented the procedure she did, what doctor, kind of implant, where it was half under, half above the muscle, some crazy shit like that. That's why they look so droopy and natural. I love her boobs. They look really good. They're huge.
Whose boobs?
Kylie's. They're huge, but damn. Like, I've seen a lot of fake boobs, but those ones...
It's actually respectful that she went out and, like, actually explained.
For the first time ever, she admitted to having plastic surgery. I mean, joder, tia. Finally.
Yeah, could have come earlier, man.
Fucking hell.
But that was kind of novel that she actually, like, explained it.
But you know what? I feel like her love life, her little Timothée Chalamet, is changing a lot regarding the way she perceives... herself on the internet and how much she's sharing now. She is becoming a more social person. She is becoming a more outgoing person. She's not shy. You can see the way she looks at him, the kind of pictures
having a
they
loving
take.
relationship really changes a person.
Having a healthy relationship really changes you as a person.
Yeah,
a whole different topic to get into. But maybe we'll leave that one for another episode. And for now, that's it. Right on the dot.
Wait. But that's just it. So she explained things
that
online?
was it.
And is there backlash? Is
Nope,
there no
zero.
backlash?
Quite on the contrary. People are finally praising Kylie for coming out and admitting that she had a boob job. Girl, it's not rocket science. If you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians season fucking, I don't know, 73 because they have 2000. No, but the one where she's a teenager and you can see whatever her looks, it would be impossible for her to have the size of boobs that she has now. It's just impossible. Same thing with her lips.
Of course, people know.
Yeah, but you remember the sucking, you probably don't, but the girls out there do. When Kylie didn't admit to having lip injections, and she said that
it was like the cup sucking thing, and then people started doing that, and the iShow Speed did that, remember?
Yeah, and where he was lips. Oh my God. And then she went on and said that it was her Kylie lip kits overlining her lips with a little pencil that got her.
Why don't they just accept it and just say it?
I don't know, because they're scared. Well,
before there used to be more stigma on like plastic surgery. Right now, like almost every girl does it. Like girls are always doing plastic surgery, which is also a topic we can address.
We can definitely address the topic.
Because that one, you're a freaking professional.
Huh?
At talking about that.
What? Who?
Plastic surgery. Not that you had a lot of practice. Oh damn, it sounded bad because she works in the industry. That's it.
Yes.
That's it. That's why.
Okay, guys.
No,
I
but
hope
also, but sorry, I'm always interrupting
you
because
good?
you're always trying to stop the recording. But I also wanted to say, like, bro, for example, like men are also having a lot of like, not really plastic surgery, but like hair implants. So everything is getting normalized, you know?
Yeah, we'll talk about that on another
Logan
episode.
Paul has major like implants. He was getting freaking bald as fuck.
Logan Paul has implants?
Bro, of course. Have you seen that hair? He has like the cabelo afudis, but like
Justin Bieber hair?
No, cabelo afudis. Do you know cabelo afudis?
Like this?
Yeah, but like the really thin, like the little thin,
like Justin Bieber used to have.
Yeah, but blonde.
Yes.
Yeah, he used to have that type of hair, and that type of hair is like, oh, you're gonna go bald. You think Justin Bieber was also going bald? Yeah, and hairstyles also did.
Well,
everybody did. Like it's the problem of the modern man. We used to go to war, now we're getting bald.
Okay, guys, we will leave this for another episode because my man is feeling like talking about hair transplants very vividly.
Yeah, man.
So maybe we should leave this topic for another day.
Yeah, we should.
I hope this episode wasn't too down. but we felt like it was something that we had to do as immigrants and as people who love their country, but had to make a choice. So
Yes.
we'll be here for episode 6. Next episode will be episode 6.
See.